Constructicons form Devastator, the most powerful robot. We shall rule. Constructicons, merge for the kill!
Hello, Bots and Books fans, this is Scorp1701, and tonight I am very excited to bring to you the first part of our 7-part series featuring the Transformers Studio Series Constructicons. Yes, this is going to be a 7-part series in which we will look at all of the Constructicons, and then at the end we will form the mighty Devastator. Bum, bum, bum. And this is going to be so much fun, and I'm so glad you're here. So, starting off, we're going to be looking at the Constructicon leader, Scrapper. And Scrapper is a Voyager class figure, and he comes in a nice Studio Series box, and this is the brand new designed Studio Series box. Gone is 86, but we have the more than meets the eye Autobot symbol and 17-step conversion, 8+. You can see Scrapper in the box. You can have a nice picture of Scrapper there in his robot mode, and in his vehicle mode, you have Transformers Studio Series, Transformers the movie. So now instead of 86 movie, they have down here where the figure originates from. So this is going to be the original 86 Transformer movie. And then you have Decepticon symbol, Constructicon Scrapper, and Hasbro. On the top of the box, you have the Transformers movie logo, Constructicon Scrapper, Takara Tomy. On the left side of the box, you have Devastator, looking all big and bad. 1 of 5 Devastator, and I know what you're thinking. Now, there's 6 Constructicons, and why are there 7 parts to this video series? All in good time. We will get there. And collect to combine Transformers Studio Series, Transformers the movie logo again. Coming around to the right side of the box, you don't have anything, just a carryover of Scrapper from the front of the box. You have an Autobot symbol, Transformers Studio Series Voyager class, and coming to the bottom of the box, you just have some credits for the box and a barcode. I will scroll in real close so you can take a look at that barcode, because you're definitely going to need Scrapper if you want to start your Constructicon series. And finally, coming to the back of the packaging, at the very top, you have a scene from the movie where Devastator is all formed and he is kicking the tar out of the Dinobots. You do have a cool little read-up of Scrapper right here. I will scroll in and you could pause the video, read that to your heart's content. And as we move down, we got some cool product shots of Scrapper in his robot mode, Scrapper in his vehicle mode, and his accessories, 17-step conversion. You have 1 of 5 Devastator and some more credits for the box. And that is Scrapper in the packaging, and I don't want to see Scrapper in the packaging. I know you don't. So let's get this Constructicon out and see how devastating he can be. And here we have Scrapper out of the packaging. And out of the packaging, he stands approximately 5.5 inches tall to the top of his head. If you want to go to the top of his shovel, you got about 6 inches there. He comes with an awesome set of instructions that will help you transform him from a robot into a vehicle. And he also comes with this huge honking gun for Devastator, which actually breaks into 2 pieces, and he can hold them each individually. But we'll take a look at that in just a moment. First off, though, I want to take a closer look at this scrappy fella himself. And coming in real close on Scrapper's head sculpt. Now, this is a beautiful Scrapper head sculpt. It is exactly what you want to see when you're talking about a Studio Series G1 Scrapper. I love it. You do have your black headpiece right up here. You got some nice silver in here for his forehead. Beautiful red visor. Beautiful silver faceplate. The sides of his head are done in black. That is really nice, coming down to his chest. Let's zoom out just a little bit so we can see the awesome details in this chest. You do have some purple and some nice silver and red. Beautiful Decepticon symbol here, some blacks. And then you have mostly green plastic for the arms. And then you got the tires up here. Let's scroll out some more. And then coming down to his waist, you're going to have the same purple, and then coming down to some beautiful silver legs, and then back down to some green plastic for the feet, and you do get some wheels hanging out there. So yeah, not a lot of paint on the arms or the legs, but where it is, it does really make this figure stand out, and he really does pop. Coming to the side, no real picked out detail here, just some molded details. Coming to the back, you can see a shovel up here on his back, and you can't really get rid of that, and you got a little bit of hollowness here in the back of the legs, but that's okay. I'm not going to look at the figure from the back. Sides pretty much the same, no picked out details other than just the molded detail. And yeah, that is really neat. I think he comes across really well as what a scrapper should look like. And I am very happy with him. And that is what your scrapper is going to look like. Moving on. And for articulation, starting with Scrapper's head can go around 360 degrees. There is a little bit of tilt in there, so he can kind of look forward and then back up. Maybe a little wiggle waggle on left and right, but not too much. Coming to his shoulders can come up from the body a long way and then back down. They can go around 360 degrees. Just watch out for the shovel on the back. Coming down, he does have a nice 90-degree elbow bend. I like that a lot. And that is built into a forearm rotation, 360 degrees. Coming down to his fist, and his fist can go in and out, but that is mostly due for transformation, but that's okay, it's still there. Coming to the center of the body, he does not have any waist articulation, no upper abdomen crunch or anything, but you could use this middle joint here in the legs to kind of fake an ab crunch, to go forward and then backward. I always like to do that with my Transformers. It's not really a waist movement, but you can pretend. All right. And speaking of the legs can come up to a nice 90 degrees. That is good. They can't go back too far because he's got all this kibble on his back. They do go out to the side a long way, 90 degrees. I like that. You do have 360 degree thigh rotation there. Coming down to a knee bend right here where it connects to the green and the silver. And that is nice. Goes back about 90 degrees. Like that a lot. And that will bring us down to his foot. And the foot can hinge up and then back down, and it can rock to the inside like such. So yeah, that's pretty much all the articulation you're going to get from Scrapper. Not perfect, no waist articulation is always kind of a bummer, but based on how he transforms and what he does, it's okay, I guess. It does have a little more articulation than the Combiner Wars because they have these forearm joints, and that is really neat. All right, and that is Scrapper's articulation. Moving on. And for accessories, Scrapper comes with a nice laser pistol. It's very long, very good sculpt and mold to it. It's just done in a black plastic. And he can hold this, bring him out really quick. Just throw it in one of his hands and he can go to blasting Autobots if he was so inclined. So that is really neat. So he could go... So that is neat. So the Combiner Wars, Hasbro versions anyway, never came with any weapons other than Devastator's weapon. So I like getting weapons with my Constructicons. It is very cool. All right, and that is Scrapper's first laser blaster. And for accessories, Scrapper comes with two more laser blasters done in this nice purple. And you can basically see where this is going. Whereas they both are sculpted really well. And they do both have handles that Scrapper could use if he was so inclined to double wield these big, huge guns like such. It looks all right, I suppose. One more than the other, if you want to really critique it. Yeah, that is something you could do. But everybody knows that these two particular guns are to combine into one to create Devastator's massive cannon, and that is going to be a huge gun when we get to it. Yeah, I like that a lot. And, well, I mean, if you really wanted to, I mean, Scrapper could hold Devastator's gun, but, oh gosh, that's kind of heavy. No. Oh, what a bang. But I wouldn't recommend it. Alright, and that is Scrapper's accessories. Moving on. And for comparison, here you have Scrapper with the Netflix Leader Class Megatron and the Studio Series Leader Class Megatron. And the big question is, which Megatron are you going to use for these Constructicons? Now, there is no doubt in my mind that the Studio Series Megatron looks perfect. He is the proper coloring, he's the proper sculpt and mold. I love the way that the Studio Series Megatron looks, and he's even part of the Studio Series line like Scrapper is. But the problem's going to come in my opinion, that the Studio Series Megatron is just too big. He is out of scale with Scrapper. Now, he is supposed to be bigger than Scrapper, of course, but I don't think he's supposed to be this big. The Netflix Megatron, on the other hand, looks great. Now, he may be a little big too, because I think Scrapper did come up to about Megatron's shoulder, if I remember in the cartoon, but you know, the Transformers G1 cartoon, this scale was everywhere. But for the most part, playability wise and the way it looks, I'm going to use the Netflix Leader Class Megatron when I do my reviews with the Constructicons, because I think he fits better in the scaling. Again, there is nothing wrong with Studio Class Megatron. He's a great figure, but in my opinion, like the Studio Series Optimus, they just made them a little bigger than they should have, as to not be able to match anything that we've gotten in the last 5 years when it comes to Transformers. But again, that is my opinion. You're more than welcome to use him. If he's the only Megatron you got, then hey, yeah, definitely use him. But given the option, I'm going to go with the Netflix. All right. And that is going to be your first comparison. And for comparisons, now that we decided which Megatron we're going to use, here Scrapper is with the Netflix Megatron, the Legacy Motor Master, the Earthrise Starscream, and the Netflix Soundwave. And this is a great group of Decepticons, even though they come from different lines. And I think this is Hasbro's way of giving us all the G1 cast, even though they have limited slots in their releases. So yeah, I think this is a great group of Decepticons. And for comparison, here you have Scrapper with some Autobots. We have the Dramatic Capture Series Optimus Prime, the Earthrise Series Grapple, the Earthrise Series Hoist, and Studio Series Bumblebee. And this is a great group of comparisons, especially Grapple and Hoist. And I love seeing these three together. Definitely reminds me of the Master Builders episode from Season 2, where the Constructicons teamed up with Grapple and Hoist to create a power tower, but that didn't go too well. But the figures here look well enough. And for comparison, here you have the Studio Series Scrapper with the Combiner Wars Scrapper. And as you can see, there's a large difference between the two, even though they were supposed to both be Voyager class figures. But with that being said, they still look very, very similar. The heads are pretty much the same, and there are just a little molded detailed differences on the chests and the arms and the legs. You do have the additional arm joints for the Studio Series that you don't get on the Combiner Wars version, but there may be a reason for that, which I'll explain a little later in the series. But anyway, they look really good. And there is a lot of similar engineering with the two, and the transforms are going to look the same when we get there. But really, that is to be expected when you're dealing with a particular looking character. There's only so many ways that Optimus Prime could turn into a truck, per se, and there's only so many ways that Scrapper here can turn into a front end loader. So there is going to be some similarities. But the Studio Series, I do believe, borrowed a lot from the Combiner Wars series. And if we were to ask the question, Where does the Combiner Wars series fit in? Well, I could bring out the Netflix Megatron, which we have agreed, well, I agree, is the best scale for the Studio Series. And he is a little big, not necessarily height-wise, but wide proportion. He's a bit more bulkier than I think he should be for Megatron, but they are about equal height. So if we were to take out the Netflix Megatron and bring in the Studio Series Megatron, that looks a little bit better, I think. So yeah, that's a good comparison. Even though I think Scrapper here is still a bit more bulkier than he should be. But some people were saying that the Combiner Wars Devastator would be in the height and scale that it was akin to the Masterpiece scale. And I don't think that's the case, because if we take out Studio Series Megatron and bring in Masterpiece Megatron, whoa, we can see this is more akin to what the Studio Series Megatron would look like with the other Decepticons. So you can see this isn't exactly the correct scaling either. So I think the Studio Series Megatron is the best match for the Combiner Wars Constructicons, but that is a small tangent that we've gone on because we are talking about the Studio Series Constructicons. I'm sorry, but I just thought that you guys would appreciate the comparisons between the different scales in this first video. I promise we won't get into so much detail in the later ones. All right. And that is going to be your comparison with the Combiner Wars Scrapper. And full transformation. Now understand, I don't necessarily go by how the instructions tell you, but by the end of the segment we get to where we need to be. Alright, so first off, what I like to do is put Scrapper's head away, and we will need to open up his chest right up here, and then his head will just fold right down into that cavity. Then we'll put this right back. After that, let's go ahead and fold in his hands right down here. That is good. Then we will rotate the forearms to the inside like this, and then go ahead and bend them out 90 degrees. That is really, really cool. And I know it seems strange, but there is a purpose for it. So once we've done that, go ahead and compress his arms into his body to make sure that is all well and good. Now, when you come around to the side, we are going to push these forearms up. And as you do, you can see a tab right here sticking out of the forearm. And that is going to go into a port, which is right here on the upper section. So this will slide right into place when you bring it up like that. And then on the other side, we will do the same thing. It will just turn in and into that little port. And that is really good. And that will secure the arms to the front of the front end loader. Okay. So now what we are going to do, let's scroll out just a little bit, is bring the shovel section down. So we get up, and then it will come down. Now there is a little green latch right here, and that will come down and latch onto this little purple part right here. So we will do that, make sure that latches on. There you go, and then we bring this down, and that is going to be kind of the front end. That's good. Now, moving to this section, this is like the little cab section. We are going to turn this around 360 degrees, like such. So that is going to be the back. And now we got to work with these legs. So go ahead and put the legs together. And we are going to kind of break them apart. So the front section here is going to come up like such. And that will enable us to fold these back sections in on themselves around. And you may have to kind of move the legs up and down a little bit to get it underneath the cab section here, but it will eventually fit. And you'll get it in there, and it will be nice and flush. Okay, and then when that is done, you're going to accordion these feet in on themselves like such, and they are just going to fall into place. There is a small latch right here on the tippy toe, like here, that will fall into place right here in this little section next to the purple spot. So that will fall right down in there. It's not exactly a clamp, but it will kind of hook there, and you can get that into spot. And there we are going to have Scrapper in his front loader transform, and that is a really cool looking transform. Let me make sure I have him all squished together and right, and I will be right back and we'll take a closer look at this vehicle form. And here we have Scrapper in his front loader mode, and it is a very nice front loader mode. It rolls really well. I do like the look of it. You do have a lot of cool molded details here in the side. The panels here for the arms have turned into some like ladders, and that is really neat. Nice plastic wheels that move. You got a little cab section here, and then the back, a lot of molded detail. I can't really tell that there's any robot bits there, so that is good. The front shovel does move up and down, so that is cool. You got a little bit of functionality there, and yeah, I like it. You can play with it and move things around like you're supposed to. The bottom, yeah, you got a little Decepticon chest symbol there still sticking out, but you can't really see his head, so I'm happy with that. Only thing I would have preferred on this vehicle mode is maybe having a Decepticon symbol maybe inside the shovel, or like we have on the Combiner Wars right here on top of the cab. But I could put one on if I was so inclined, so I might do that later on. And anyway, that is going to be Scrapper in his vehicle mode. Alright, moving on. And full comparison in his vehicle mode, here Scrapper is with Megatron in the Netflix tank mode. I think that's really good. And here he is with his fellow Combiner leader, Motor Master. So you can see Motor Master is a little bit bigger, so I guess it should be, as a semi-truck should be bigger than a little Constructicon, so that's not too bad. And here he is with Starscream in the jet mode. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, and that's why Soundwave isn't out here, but hey, it's pretty neat. There you go, with some cool vehicle comparisons. I like that, with his fellow Decepticons. Alright. And full comparison with our hero bots. Here he is with the Optimus Prime from the Dramatic Capture series, and like Motor Master, Optimus is bigger than Scrapper, as he should be. That's pretty neat. Here you are with the Grapple, and there you go. I like that comparison. I like the construction vehicles together, although, you know, Grapple is not really a construction vehicle per se. He doesn't make things, but he does fix things. And here he is with Hoist, and they're comparable size-wise. I like that. And then let's not forget Little Bumblebee, in which case Scrapper is a little bigger, and you know, that could be good. Get you out! Oh, help! Help! Prime! No! No fighting, guys. We are doing a review, so let's get this back together. And I think they look really good together, even though they are on different sides. Alright, let's see what else we got. And for comparison, here you have Scrapper with his Combiner Wars self, and it's very, very similar. Like I was saying before, the engineering for these two are gonna always be kind of the same, because again, there's only certain ways you can get a front end loader, and it looks pretty good. I don't really see any major differences in the transform, but so yeah, this is good. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, and that has been your comparisons. Moving on. And because Scrapper is a combiner, we have one more transform to do, and that is going to be to turn him into his combined mode. And that is best to be done when he is in vehicle mode here. Alright, so the first thing we want to do to get him into combined mode is to bring his shovel up from the body, and then fold this little tab up, and then we want to fold the shovel up like that. So that is really nice. Let's zoom out so we can see the entirety of the bot. And now we are going to pull his arms out from the side, and then we are going to rotate them down like such, so they are facing down, and then we will snap them back into the center of the body, and then we will take these little hands. And now this is where me and the instructions are gonna disagree on some things. So the instructions first want you to extend the hands like such, and then they want you to turn the forearm around and then put it out to the side like this. And there's nothing really wrong with that. You got your good stabilization here, but you can see the hand, and I don't really care for that when all you really need to do, and it's less steps, is just to leave it how it is. And when you have it like this, you've extended the hand, you still got your stability, and then you have a flat paneling here. You don't see robot hand. So I think that is pretty much the same, unless there is something I don't know about that the hands have to do from the outside, but I don't think that's the case. But anyway, there you go with that. Let's move up. There is just a few other things that we have to do, namely pull this back section out just a bit so we can turn the cab section around like that, and then put that back. And there, that is pretty much going to be Scrapper in his combined mode. And he's a leg, and yeah, he will go onto Devastator's right leg, and we will get him into Devastator in a few more videos. Alright, so stay tuned for that. And that is going to be Scrapper in his combined mode. Very simple, very easy. Alright, moving on. And this has been the Transformers Studio Series Constructicons Scrapper, Part 1 of 6 to form the mighty Devastator. And I am very happy to have started this collection, and I think this Scrapper was very similar to what we got with the Combiner Wars Scrapper. A little smaller, obviously, and a little bit of different paint deco, and some slight differences in the mold, but for the most part, the engineering is very similar, which it's going to be because there's only so many ways you could do this, like I've said before. And as for an updated figure, I do like the fact that he comes with a personal weapon and he has articulated forearms, unlike the Combiner Wars did. So that's what I think about the sculpt and mold. The colors on the figure are very nice. I like the red visor, the silver on the face and the chest. I like the Decepticon symbol and the silver legs, but that's pretty much it when it comes to paint. And the green plastics and the purple plastics are good. I mean, it's helpful when you don't have to spend money on paint when you don't need to, and I don't think the plastics look too bad. So that is that. For accessories, he has his personal pistol, which I like, and he has the two weapons that can form Devastator's gun. They are a little big for him, but again, they're not supposed to go with him, but they decided to make him be able to use them anyway, because why not? As for transformation, it's very simple and easy. There's really not a complex way to turn this guy into a front end loader or a leg mode, so I'm very happy with that. And that's pretty much all I can say about Scrapper here. We are off to a very good start, and I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you are looking for Scrapper, you can find him on the shelves right right now, and he will go for approximately $35 if you find him at local retailers. If you find him online, he can go for $40 or more. So if you're looking, happy hunting. And that's it, guys. That is the end of part 1 of our 7-part series. I hope you come back tomorrow as we take a look at the Constructicon Bone Crusher. But until then, have a good night, and until next time, keep playing.
Constructicons unite!